Hands up if you're in the one-loss club.
I don't have a team.
It's just the Chiefs?
I don't have a team.
You've got a team. Oh, don't you dare do
My
this.
team is.
You haven't. Where are you from?
Hey, listen.
Where are you from?
Listen.
Where are you from?
Listen. I can raise my hand. My team has 0 wins. The Jets.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
But
we're resetting the table, apparently. All right, well, let's start with 2 of Brandon's former teams, the Bills and the Steelers. He's been fighting for the Bills. He's from Pittsburgh. A lot on the line with this one for Pittsburgh, coming off their first loss. They had to win this game to keep the 1 seed and to prove last week was a blip and not a trend. Blip, it's a funny word. Steelers offense again struggled, and for Big Ben, he again struggled. 2 touchdowns, but also 2 picks, including a pick 6 just before the half that gave the Bills all the momentum in this one. Buffalo win, Steelers lose. After the game, here's Ben Roethlisberger.
We've lost 2. We're facing some adversity, but we're not hitting the panic button. Offensively, we're not very good. And right now, we're not playing good football, and it starts with me. So, we all need to look in the mirror. And like I said, it starts with me and understand that we all need to be better. And, I think that we will be. I think this is a team that's got a lot of resilience, that is resilient and understands what it takes to win football games and understands what time of year it is, and that the way we're playing right now is unacceptable.
So, Brandon, we have gone from, maybe 2 weeks ago, talking about whether this team can go undefeated the rest of the way. This was the Pittsburgh Steelers to Big Ben saying our offense just isn't working and this losing is unacceptable. Come a long way in a short period of time. What has gone so wrong for Ben Roethlisberger and this Pittsburgh Steelers team?
Well, number one, you look at the defensive side, that's where they're great. They're banged up over there, but that's not why they're trending in the wrong direction. You go to the offensive side, and we talked about it last week, no identity, right? Like Big Ben, is he changing plays at the line of scrimmage? Why aren't they running the ball more? They started off the season hot running the ball, and then all of a sudden they're just throwing it around the yard like he's 15 years old. Like, Big Ben, you're not that guy. But you saw it last night. What was the first game? What was the first play of the game? It was a pass play. A quick out. That's what we went with. Like, we're trying to figure out who we are and our identity. Guys, let's go. Let's get back to the run. Guys, let's set the tempo early. And we start off with a pass play, a 5-yard out that almost goes the other way, pick 6. That's what we do. So I say all that to say this. The reason why this team is trending in the wrong direction is because they have no commitment to the run. That's a big indicator for team success, is who's willing to commit to the run. It's not a sexy brand of football. Being able to commit to 2 yards a gain, 3 yards here, 4 yards there, no gain there. Like, you have to be willing to commit to the run. And they're not willing to do that until they average 20, 25 times a game on the ground. We're going to see this team probably get into the playoffs and be right out of the playoffs that fast.
Yeah, they're in real trouble. I don't think that's deniable, and I think that we've seen the template for this. So if I'm describing a team that is the last remaining undefeated team, but probably not quite as good as their record suggests, relying heavily on an outstanding defense with major question marks surrounding an aging quarterback, Kevin Wildes, am I talking about the 2020 Steelers or last year's Patriots? And how'd the playoffs go for last year's Patriots, by the way? Remind you at all of them? No, I'm not trying to bring you down, Wildes, but does last year's Patriots, remember? They were 8-0.
Yeah, I remember.
The offense wasn't great, but the defense was outstanding. But you saw some of the creaks and some of the weaknesses throughout the year, and we didn't play Big Ben's full press conference, but it was a tour de force. He said, I'm not good anymore. He said, maybe I should just quit. It was the vintage Big Ben, woe is me. Maybe I should just retire. I don't even know why I try anymore. Press conference. And he understands, Wildes, this game turned on a pick 6. Brandon says the first half almost started with a pick 6. The first half did end essentially with a pick 6 when the Steelers were in full control. They were up 7-3. Josh Allen was vindicating everything I've said about him. And then this play right here flipped the entire football game. And so, yeah, like the Steelers are in big, big trouble. Whether they finish 12-4, 13-3 at this point doesn't really matter, because unless the defense gets back to being the very best in football, which given their injuries, I don't know that they can, I don't see what their path is to win multiple playoff games, Wilds.
Okay, I've got three things now. I started out with one thing, now I've got three. Number one, unnecessary Patriot slander. I'm sitting here minding my own business in my basement, still licking my wounds from this Thursday loss, and you bring up last year. So first of all, bad teammate work by you, Nick. I do not appreciate it on a Monday morning. Number two, the Steelers, it was their third game in 12 days, so no one's bringing it up because the game was sort of funky, but I would like to see them back to a normal schedule. Number three, Brandon, I know after every Sunday night, you and all the other great wide receivers in the history of the NFL have a nice meeting, a Zoom meeting, and you discuss the different wide receivers' actions of the week. What's your take on Juju dancing on the Bills logo? Now, he showed out. He had 6 for 55 with a touchdown, but the Bills said this gave them a little bit of extra fire. So do the Steelers need more of this or less of this? What does the wide receiver committee say?
This is, I hate to say it this way, this is AB-like. Now, it's a different way of distracting the team, but he does this every week, and I don't understand it. I don't get it. You know, when you're flying high and you're winning games, you feel like you can do whatever. Juju is a great kid. Like, Juju is a socialite. He's a guy that loves entertaining. But now you go too far when you're disrespecting teams. Like, why? Like, what do you get out of going to the opposing team's logo before the game and dancing on it? Now, do I believe in bulletin board material? I don't, because every game, every practice, you're going to get my best. But, Juju, come on, man. Like, I just don't get it. It's a distraction. And if I'm Mike Tomlin, I'm probably going into the locker room talking about, hey, we're not doing this anymore.
So let's just turn it and talk about the Bills for a second. Josh Allen, for better or worse, he looked good last night. He didn't look great, but he looked good. Certainly good enough, 2 scores, a pick, but the most important part was the win. Bills now jump to 10-3. They open up a 2-game lead in the AFC East. They only have 3 games left to play. So, Brandon, let me send it back to you. Is it time, when you look at this team, to consider the Buffalo Bills Super Bowl contenders after this win last night?
Yes, absolutely. And I don't know why. I don't know why I was one of those guys that waver. I was high on them at the beginning of the season, and then all of a sudden they went through 2 or 3 game span where they didn't look great. And I was like, I stopped talking about them. No, it wasn't 2 months. It was like 2 or 3 weeks.
It was 2 months.
It was 2 or 3. Check the record.
It was 2 months.
No, it wasn't 2 months. Come on.
Okay.
This is a good team, Nick.
Go ahead.
This is a good team for this reason. This is why you need to consider them a contender, and on Wednesday you need to move them up to the #1 contender. One, on the defensive side. I went back to my notes beginning of the season. Defensive line was depleted. They had no help up front. Linebackers wasn't there. You got Milano, the linebacker is back. He's getting healthy at the right time. In the last 8 weeks, this team averages a takeaway a game. So for those 2 reasons on the defensive side, we need to move them up a tier. Number 2, offensively, they're second behind the Chiefs in moving the ball. What does that mean? Why is that important? First down rate, why is that important? Because you have good offense. You can do whatever you want. You can throw the ball. For sure. You can run the ball. Like, when you can win the time of possession, you have a great chance of winning the game. And the last thing is the coaches. You have Brian Daboll and Leslie Frazier. I don't think these two coaches will be on this staff next year. They could potentially be head coaches in another organization next year. Those 3 reasons is why this team needs to move up a tier.
I think McDermott's an underrated head coach. Leslie Frazier should be a head coach again. The defense is playing better. Offensive line is solid. Diggs is awesome. If only they had a quarterback you'd trust. Oh, Nick, put respect on Josh Allen's name. Okay, I will. I thought Josh Allen, because for all Bills Mafia, all of my mentions, I thought he had one of the best games I've ever seen where an offense scores 19 points and he has a passer rating sub 80. I thought on those parameters, threw one pick, fumbled once, could have thrown another pick. Listen, I thought he was a little bit better than those bad stats suggest. And so, listen, people are going to be like, Nick, you're just promoting the Chiefs. You've got to be. I will admit, and this will shock the audience and shock America, this is an odd year. And the NFL's already said we're expanding the playoffs to 7. We might expand them to 8. We don't know what other potential wrinkles they're adding. Jenna, I am ready to say, if the NFL allows the Steelers and Bills to combine rosters to form one team,